So I'm going to read the official bio here. And it says, about Milton Bowens, as if you wouldn't already know. It said about Milton Bowens. Milton was born and raised in Oakland, California. Milton is the 5th boy of 10 children, and also the youngest of the 10. That's the origin of his unique signature, Milton 510. Milton's artistic promise began at the age of 5 with nothing more than a few pencils and cut-up brown paper bags used as sketch paper, thanks to his mother's ingenuity of making the best of lean times. Years later, Milton's formal art education took off while he attended the Renaissance Art School in Oakland during his junior and senior high school years. After graduating, Milton received a scholarship to the California College of Arts and Crafts. He completed 1 year of study, then enlisted in the United States Armed Forces, and became an illustrator and completed an associate's degree in commercial art under the Army's College Education Assistance Program, or ACE. Milton is an internationally known artist and activist who has been creating powerful work for over the past 20 years. He doesn't look like he's even over 20. And who has participated in over 100 group and one-person exhibitions regionally and nationally. Like I said, this is the 3rd introduction I've done of Milton, and so I've heard, I think, all of the presentations that he's done during this month, so this would make number 6? Yeah. And everyone has been outstanding. Yesterday was like a blessing to us. We sat there for 2 hours, Milton, and listened to you for 2 straight hours, and still we were not bored. I mean, that's a testament. And so y'all, this is a blessing to hear and have this brother here today. So without further ado, y'all give Milton a hand. I'm at home now. I just lay down on the floor and go to sleep.
First of all, I would like to thank Mr. Spears and Mrs. Spears for being a part of this experience. We're gonna do this like real casual. This is not gonna be formal. It's even though the time is like ticking down and this experience is coming to a close, it's still important for people to really understand where we are historical with what actually just happened in May. Everybody should know it's pretty obvious that May is the 5th calendar month in our year. And this is the year 2010. So 5-10. This has all been calculated and been thought out for a very long period of time. So yesterday, a lot of people said I was in rare form. It was the gospel portion of the 5-10 experience, and that collection was called Oh Happy Sundays. And we had a performance by the Allen Temple Men's Chorus. They came and performed, and we had 2 phenomenal spoken word artists from Sacramento who drove all the way down to Oakland to be a part of the event, Jasmine Cope and Anna Marie. And they really gave some powerful performances, some spiritually impactful spoken word pieces. So, it was just kind of like the spirit was in the air, But the one reason why that particular lecture that I gave yesterday I'm sort of passionate about is because it talks about the historical nature in which spirituality plays a role and how art has impacted spirituality. So we got a little deep. And the one sound bite I want to give from that particular lecture is getting people to understand the connection between time and place and how art plays a role in it. And how we need to look at art culturally from a level of importance and how it is connected to us on a lot of other levels. But we kind of lock into art as just this thing that we look at as mere decoration. But there are some deep ramifications to our culture if we don't really start to examine just how valuable fine art is to the fabric of who we are as a people and how we are deemed in the public internationally on a day-to-day basis, how it is used to educate and inspire our young people, our youth. But the African American story and how it's depicted artistically has been under assault since the 20s. Now, when we start to look at 1920 and what it truly represents, the one thing I just have to always bring up is that the Harlem Renaissance is extremely special to me for a lot of different reasons. But from all aspects of the arts, this is the one thing that I want everybody to really understand. If you don't take nothing else from what we talk about this evening, take this away with you. In the late 1920s to the early 1930s, there was a group of African Americans painting a dignified image of African Americans in America. And it was called the Harlem Renaissance, right? But when you pick up a textbook, studying on any major university, junior college, any state university level, the first American art movement they teach you about is the first school of New York painters, the abstract expressionists, 1945. So let's do a little math. 1928, 1945. How is it that I could pick up a university certified text in the first American art movement I read about is the abstract expressionists in New York, 1945? Last time I checked, Harlem is in New York, right? And 1928 came before 1945, right? So why am I not reading about this marvelous group of African American artists painting in the 20s as the first American art movement? Because historians have classified that movement as a cultural movement and not an art movement. Okay, so now, this is where the scholarship argument comes in. Now, I give this lecture all over the country. I just gave this lecture Black History Month at Occidental College and Cornell University. And I had professors in the back of the audience scratching their head when we were done. This is facts. You can do your own math. I mean, this is simple. 1928, 1945. You know, Harlem, the Village, that's nothing but 6 stops on the A train. Same city. How many people from Oakland? 1. How many people been down to Oakland and never caught BART? Okay, if I jumped on BART at 12th and Broadway and rode it to the Coliseum, that's the same distance if I jumped on the A train in Harlem and went from 125th Street down to the Village. So we're in the same city. But we did this years prior to the first written documentation. But this is what they're teaching our young people. So let me show you how it impacts everybody. Because when I was learning art in junior and senior high, all I learned about was my European masters. I really didn't even get exposed to black art on a really professional or academic level till much later in life. The first African American artist I really encountered of any stature was Jean-Michel Basquiat. And that's only because I was reading about him on the front of the New York Times on my way to school, seeing him in newspapers at the bookstore when I was transferring buses to get to school. I lived in East Oakland and went to school in Rockridge. So I seen Oakland change every day going to school. We went from concrete and trash to one of the most better, affluent communities Oakland has to offer. It was like night and day. And I'm being taught everything that's important that has nothing to do or reflect who I am as a person. To make it even more confusing, they take me on field trips to the Oakland Museum, and everything I see that's important about California doesn't look like nothing in my neighborhood. So we fast forward to why am I so passionate about getting people to understand why the Harlem Renaissance is important? Is because I'm an artist. And this is what I do. It's obvious if everybody can see this is what I do now. But this didn't happen overnight. Because this information that you see on the walls never would have even came about had I not basically dropped out of art college after 1 year because they were not teaching me or advancing my artistic abilities. I started taking art classes at my college in the 10th grade because I had made it to advanced art in the 10th grade. So they couldn't even teach me no more at my high school. So they started sending me across the street to the college to take art courses. So when I got in my freshman year to CCAC, those teachers said, well, Milton, you might as well just go erase the dates off of your old assignments and turn them back in. So I'm going to my counselor,